did this? Who did this? Alrighty, now that you've watched some weird ASMR, one of the most frequent questions I get on YouTube, Instagram, everywhere is if you could only pick one Yeti, which one would you get? Which one should I get? And I always sort of skirt around the question and make jokes like it's like choosing between children and whatever. Like I like my bikes and I'm fortunate to have a bunch of them. So yeah, people want to know which one should they get. This is my choice. It might not be what you're looking for, but if I had to pick just one if I could only have one bike, it would be my 160. I like to ride everything, but at the end of the day, all I really care about is smashing descents. And whether that's pushing my bike to the top, riding to the top, shuttling, riding an e-bike, I don't really care. I just want to ride descents. And this bike is optimized for riding fast and rough terrain. And that's what at the end of the day, I love to climb, I love to do everything. But if I really am getting down to what I climb to do, and what I really care about, it's riding rad trails. And I feel the most comfortable pushing on this type of bike. So if I had to choose just one, and I could only have one, this would be it, my 160. It's pretty no-brainer. I am fortunate enough to ride for a living, so I can ride, or I organize my life so that I can ride and do ride every day. Therefore, I don't really care about the weight of this bike or this is less efficient than, say, my ASR climbing, but that's fine. Like, I'll get to the top, I can pedal it all day, it doesn't matter. There's nothing wrong with pedaling a 34-pound bike around. I'd rather my bike feel better on the descent than be optimized for the climb. Like, I love my ASR, and when I want to ride smooth trails, my ASR feels super good in that element. but you can't ride it down like downhill tracks and not die or break your bike. So this is my go-to. And, it's definitely poochy and slower on smoother trails, which I'm fine with. I want it to feel good when I need it to feel good and when I'm pushing. And that's what I honestly care about, and that's how I've set up this bike. So this is my third 160. I pretty much build a new one every year to put all the latest and greatest bits on it, whatever. And this is sort of my iteration of the perfect bike. Over this past summer, I rode my ASR a shitload because that was new and fun, and sometimes it's nice to just go out and cruise and ride smoother trails, and it goes uphill. It's absolutely cheating. It's like so efficient. It weighs, 15 pounds less than this bike, whatever the hell it weighs, and it's just a pleasure to ride when you want to break from smashing or whatever. I also rode my e-bike a ton this summer because I want to smash downhill laps, and however I can get up there the fastest to do more laps and not have to drive, that's sweet. So I use it in that capacity. But that said, when I go and travel and I don't know which bike to bring and I don't know quite what I'm getting into, or I'm going to film an enduro race or something like that, this is what I bring. Because I can ride it in the park, I can ride it on smooth trails, I can ride it everywhere, and it's sweet. So that's where my head's at. I've always optimized my bikes for descending, and I'll just deal with it on the climb because I can, and I just don't care. So I've been pedaling bikes for 40 years, more than that, and I don't mind climbing on a heavy bike. I just want it to feel good when I run into things. This one is a little bit different than the last one I built. The last one had flight attendant on it. Flight attendant is really useful on my XC bike and really handy in that capacity, and I really appreciate it on there. But you don't really need it on your enduro bike because I basically use this to do one long climb and then one long descent is kind of how I prefer to ride this thing. So I don't mind flicking the switch, the climbing switch. Truth be told, Yetis pedal amazingly well, so they're fine with it wide open most of the time. But sometimes, a heavy bike like this can feel a little poochy on, whatever, flatter, smoother, lock the thing out, certainly on the road, whatever. But for the most part, this thing climbs just fine. And there were occasions when I used to forget to open my shock back up after a climb, and then I'd ride something locked out or, with full compression, and it would feel awful, and halfway down, I'd reach down and open it up and whatever, but I didn't do that too many times. I don't know that the weight penalty and the cost and all the battery charging is really worth it for the average consumer. If you just like to go out and have fun, ride your bike, and not faff around too much, I think this is a pretty good setup, like it is with a Zeb and a Super Deluxe Ultimate. This is a 180 Zeb. Stock on this bike is 170. So I always like my front end a bit higher. Yeti calls this spec sort of lunch ride, or it has been over the years. And that's always how I've spec'd every Yeti I've ever owned, is kind of 10 mil over stock, just to lift the front end up. I'm sort of more of a playful kind of finesse rider than a smasher, so I like having the front end a little bit higher. It's kind of like my dirt jump background, whatever. I just like a higher front end, so I always run a little bit taller fork on here. This is a 180, stock is 170, so that puts the head angle at 63.5 maybe. I think 64 is stock. I like this bike. Reason being, like most Yetis, the harder you ride it, the better it feels. If you're going to be lazy and just ride around sitting down and let the bike ride you, it's not going to feel very good. But I appreciate the fact that when I'm on the rivet and riding it to my full potential, the bike feels as it should and sorted, and that's kind of my happy place. I want it to feel the best when I'm pushing the hardest, and the rest of the time it should feel probably a little harsh, because otherwise it would be too soft when you're riding hard. So that's kind of how these things feel. The only other changes I've made on this bike since the last one, other than the suspension, everything's the same. Transmission pretty tried and true at this point. Goes without saying, that works great. Yeah, the new reverb, it works great. It's fine. It works like the other reverbs. Seems to hold its bleed a little bit better. And I do like that when the post is down like a ½ inch, you get a little bit of travel in your seat. And that kind of sounded weird not putting it first, but now I've gotten used to riding it. It's kind of nice on a bigger bike like this when you might put your saddle down like an inch to climb through some rough crap. And just having a little bit of squish there actually keeps you from getting beat up. So I kind of appreciate it. Like, I don't want it on my ASR, but on this bike, I think it makes sense. On my e-bike, it definitely makes sense because you're climbing so much random technical crap with your seat like halfway down. I did start working with WTB this season. I've been testing their tires for a couple of years now. I've been super impressed. Verdict and judge on this bike. They're both almost 1,600 gram tires, and I do not run inserts. My theory, I like to feel of downhill tires. I don't flat them. I can run a little bit lower pressure in these tires, so I'll usually do, 21, 23 in most things. If I go to some place that's like really, really rocky, I might bump it up a couple PSI, but I don't need to go much lower than that. Like, I'm not really down with the super low tire pressure game that people play. Like, I'm not sure why they do that. I think they have better traction, but folding tires in hard turns isn't really kind of my deal. I have been running these carbon WTB wheels for most of this season. I've had super good luck with them. Compared to what I was running on my last bike, these are about 100 grams lighter than the zip wheels were. They're also a little bit less flexy in sort of bike parky, like berm and like high loading. I never really felt waggy on the zips, but when you kind of GM out into a berm or like when you're riding through like pump rollers and things like that, like they felt a little bit soft. These have just as much grip on off cambers and natural terrain, but they don't feel quite as waggy in like G-out and hard turn compression situations. So actually I like these a lot. They're also a lot quieter than the zip wheels were. These don't ping and the spokes don't make noise when you slap turns and bang into things. Like, these are nice and quiet, and I don't know, the hub sounds cool. It's like kind of medium. It's not overly loud, but it's got a little bit of sound to it. I do like these. I did run them for, like I said, almost the whole season, like half the season, whatever, and I wasn't able to break any, so that's good. Granted, I'm running, down casing tire on here, so there's a little more padding on the bead, but the rim surface is a little bit wider, and it doesn't seem like it's going to slice tires like some carbon wheels have been known to. So yeah, these are 30 ID diameter wheels, and I think that's like kind of the happy place for where you want to be on this style of enduro bike. Yeah, so running Mavens on here like I do on all my bigger bikes, e-bike, this bike, my baby downhill bike. Yeah, like best brake SRAMs made to date, and I don't know what else to say. They stop, and if you're not used to them, they'll kill you. So pay attention. I am running a 40 mil stem on this bike with a 20 millimeter riser bar. I run all my bars the same width, so my bikes don't feel weird when I switch back and forth. This is 760, right around there. Yeah, tiny cockpit. Like, I like the electronic stuff. I don't like all the wires and all the faff, whatever. Like, you gotta charge a couple batteries, but they last pretty long, and you can keep your phone charged to watch this video, so you can probably keep your seatbelt's battery charged to make your seat go up and down. Not that big a deal. Something sweet about this bike is that all the internal cable routing is tight and captured inside the frame, so nothing's banging around in there, nothing makes noise. The newest generation of Yeti frames are all like super quiet, super damp, and have a different feel than the older stuff did. Kind of like a good blend of compliance and stiffness. All the bearings, everything rotates smoothly and keeps things stiff, but there's still engineered compliance, so it doesn't beat the shit out of you. Kind of a happy spot with that stuff. Yeah, everything's real tidy. Everything's clean. Things don't make noise when you ride them. Ergon GH team grips, a little bit fatter, nice and soft. These seem to feel good on my big bikes. I'll run thinner, a little bit lighter grips on my XC bike, whatever, but for the big bikes, for riding all day, like hanging on, these feel really good, honestly. And obviously the Ergon saddle with the blingy tie rails keeps my buttocks happy. And yeah, I've worked with these guys for more than 10 years, and my contact points appreciate their attention to detail, honestly. What I would pick if I had to choose just one Yeti. And like I said, like, that might not be your choice if you're riding different trails than I ride all the time. I fully realize that I ride differently than most people. But if you want a bike that's optimized for smashing and riding what I consider fun downhill trails, this is your bike that you can like ride in the bike park and ride through technical stuff and high speed, and it's got a nice long wheelbase, so it's stable, and going fast it feels alive and planted, and I really enjoy it. But if you're gonna ride like XC style trails every day, like maybe this isn't for you. But if you want a one bike quiver that feels good when you want it to feel good, this is your choice. Everyone's always like, oh, I should get the 140 because, you know, it's like the happy medium bike. But I like my 140, but like to me it wasn't that good at anything. It was like medium. Whereas this is really good at descending and isn't that sweet going uphill because of its weight. Like I said, I'd rather not have an all-season tire. I'd rather have snow tires in the winter and summer tires in the summer, because there is no happy medium that feels good on the edges of the brackets. I'm optimizing for ascending, not for all mountain. If you're the type of rider who rides like your local enduro trails with your friends and does some shuttle laps and a couple of days at bike park, like no question, this is your rig. Like just get a big bike, you'll get stronger because of it, you'll be fine climbing, you'll get used to it. And you won't die in the downhill, so you'll have more fun. At the end of the day, it's about having more fun. So, the age-old question, which Yeti should I get? There's your answer. This is my choice. I love my ASR. I rode it, I don't know, many hundreds of miles this summer. It was just something different. Like I haven't had an XC bike in so long that it was intriguing to me to see how fast I could go, like my average speed type stuff, and you know, go ride super hard for 3 hours and see where it got me and this and that. So I really love that, and I really do ride my e-bike a shitload. My 160E. When I want to go and just like smash downhill trails, like that's the tool to do that. If you're by yourself and you don't have a shuttle and you want to go do, you know, 7,000 foot day of descending, like that's the tool for that. And then, yeah, my 160 is like my everyday, wherever I'm going, wherever I'm show riding, this is the bike I bring. Enduro stuff, downhill stuff, big trail bike, long days in the mountains, like this bike is sick. So this is my go-to. So now you have your answer. And the mystery is solved. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, hate. Put them in the comments. I'll try to answer everybody. If you have any build questions, like how I did this, why I did this, if you have any weird ASMR fetishes or comments on that stuff, let me know. Thanks to Yeti for working with me here. I've been representing them, working with them for, I think this is year 13, going on year 13, so many thanks for that. Thanks to WTB for partnering up this year and into the next year here, and building some rad wheels and proper downhill tires for me to smash on and not get flat. And yeah, thanks to Sram for kicking in parts and knock shots. And Ergon, don't forget Ergon, who's been keeping my contact points happy and healthy for more than 10 years now. Tune in for a fresh FollowCamFriday episode every Friday on YouTube's near you. And yeah, like the videos. It's nice to hit the like button. Subscribe.